Hello, collectors. Welcome for another session of Collector to Collector, where I interview different YouTubers throughout the hobby and we get a closer look at their origin story, what they collect, how they collect, why they collect, and get to know them a little more. So, today we've got another great guest. So, stick around and just watch.
Welcome to For Collectors.
All right, today I would like to introduce out of the state of Louisiana, we have got Dan from Old Sarge Collects. Welcome to Four Collectors, Dan.
Hey, how's it going? Glad to be
It's
here.
going great. Great to have you. Welcome. Your first here appearance on the channel. Have you appeared on any other channels yet to this point? All right, there we go. Popping that cherry. So. All right. Dan is, what are you, 10 months in on YouTube at this point?
Yeah, I started back in April, and so I believe it's about 10 months now.
Yeah. So, doing great. You just recently wrapped up your 200 subscriber video response contest, which I swear I'm gonna still do an entry. I've been deficient this last month. I just feel like I'm behind on everything. I have the cards on the desk ready to go. They've been there all week, and I just haven't put it together to film. So,
Well, no worries on that. I do appreciate the support, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. I wrapped everything up yesterday, and the winner was selected, so all the cards were pulled. It was a lot of fun doing that rummage. So.
well, awesome. Because I see now you're well beyond 200 with the publicity that the VR type thing brings. So,
I was really surprised about all that, and all the supports the channels that I didn't even know were aware of my channel. We're doing VRs, and that was really great. So
oh yeah, we've got a welcoming community, and you get one of those bigger channels does the VR for you, and more people see you. So it's just kind of how that works around here. So, uh, but let's get started. So, what is the origin story for Dan in sports and collecting cards?
all right. Basically, I'm going to go back to 1988 or 1987 actually, 87, 88, sometime around there. I met Mike Morgan for the first time, and Mike Morgan is a relative. I call him Uncle Mike, and basically a relative through marriage. And so he was a pitcher at the time for the Baltimore Orioles. And so I met him for the first time. First time I ever met any major league or major sports star, an elite athlete. And so he was into baseball. I didn't play any sports at the time, and then I just jumped headfirst right into all those waters and started playing baseball. Started you know picking out my favorite players and started collecting cards. And some of the first cards I was collecting back then were Mike Morgan, but also cards of players that their names were catchy names. That's kind of how I started. Was oh, there's a Don Mattingly. That's a cool name. Let me start collecting him. And I was collecting them, making pages in a binder for each player that I was collecting. So it was pretty cool. Ryan Sandberg, Don Mattingly, just a number of different players at the time.
That's cool. So, did having this major league uncle get you some other access to anything, or?
Yeah, absolutely. So we lived in Houston. I'm originally from Houston, and my dad and I and stepmother, we were living in Houston with my two stepbrothers, and it was really their. It was my stepbrother's aunt on their dad's side. So anytime that Uncle Mike and Aunt Cassie would come to Houston to play the Astros, we always got tickets to the games. we would get to go out to eat with the team after the game if it wasn't too late. So I remember a specific incident where uh, us and the Dodgers, he was on the Dodgers at the time, us and the Dodgers, we went to Papados in Houston, and I remember Tommy Lasorda sitting there, and I sat right next to Eddie Murray, and it was really cool. I had some cards with me, and I was walking around the table there at Papados getting all the players of the cards that I had signed, and it was really neat experience. A lot of neat experiences. I met Sammy Sosa when he was brand new, with the Cubs, and met Ryan Sandberg, Andre Dawson. So it was a lot of fun.
That is awesome. I mean, I'm jealous of that at this point. Um, through childhood, did you collect then all the way through high school, or what?
No, so I played baseball all the way through high school, but I,
Yeah,
I quit collecting cards, and I honestly I was at a point I was angry, and this was during the thing in 1994. What was it?
baseball strike.
The strike, yeah, the baseball
Yeah.
strike in 1980. So I got bitter about that, and I thought, man, these guys are my heroes. I'm idolizing these guys, and all of them aren't. They're choosing not to play for more money, and so to me, that was kind of a put off, and I stopped collecting cards. I stopped collecting their cards, and that lasted pretty much from 1994 all the way to 2018. And in 2018, I went through a divorce, and in refinding myself, I found baseball cards again, and so I started collecting again in 2018.
Sweet. And so, were you collecting just modern cards really in your youth? Is that what you had focused on?
Yeah, for the most part, I did have some hand-me-down cards from another uncle, and through that, I got some 1956 tops. I actually got a 1956 tops Roberto Clemente card, and unfortunately, unfortunately, I had that one rip in half when I was trying to insert it into one of the sleeves, and
Oh,
yeah, it was bad. And so, I had a handful of 56 tops and a couple of those 1963 Fleer. I have a Ron Santo from then. Other than that, not really a whole lot of vintage. Other than maybe what was given to me at some card shows back in Texas when I was a kid. But yeah, most of it was all like 87, 88, 89 through 94. So.
oh yeah, all the stuff that was sold in every retail location on the planet. It felt like
Yep, yep.
you couldn't go to a gas station without there being packs of cards. Or,
7-Eleven. That was me. Get
yeah,
a Slurpee and a pack of baseball cards.
awesome.
Yeah.
So, once you got back then in 2018, it's clear you went hardcore then with the vintage. So, what was your how did you end up deciding to go that way?
So my the cards I wanted the most, the two cards I wanted the most when I got back into collecting were I wanted a Mickey Mantle card because I had never even seen in person a Mickey Mantle card, and then I wanted the Ricky Henderson rookie card. And so, those were the first two I went for. And the Mickey Mantle card that I wanted or found was the cheapest one I could find at the time was the 58 All Star. And, just a beautiful card with that red background and the stars. And
Yeah,
so I picked that one up. And at that point, I was hooked. It was done. And then I started, you know, so I started off picking up a bunch of like iconic cards, and so I have that 41 Joe DiMaggio and the 41 Ted Williams, and then real soon after that, Ted Williams became my favorite player, and I just started. I had the entire run of Ted Williams at one point, so. Um,
awesome.
and then through watching YouTube, I started doing player runs. And so I was really big into the player runs, and I had completed, runs like Hank Aaron, Willie Mays. I had at one point collected well, with the exception of the 52, anything from 1952 to before that of Mickey Mantle. So I had all the 53 through 59 of Mickey Mantle, and was working on all the 60s and all that stuff. And so that I started off when I got back into the hobby as a player run collector, and then I changed that because I was buying a house and I needed to sell some cards in order to pay on the down payment. So I started selling off a lot of my player runs and used that to do the down payment of the house.
Okay, I was starting to wonder because I hadn't seen some of these massive cards that you're talking, and
Well,
it was like,
so there's a
go ahead.
reason why I haven't shown a lot of cards.
Okay,
I show a lot of the odd stuff, and the reason why I don't show a lot of the other stuff that I have is simply just because you've seen it all before. So I mean, I love 50s cards, and I mean cards like this that I don't know if you can see because of the light, but I mean, this 51 Bowman Ted Williams, I love these things. But how many times have you seen one on YouTube? And so I just got to the point where I was like, okay, well, I want to show something different. If I'm going to have a channel, what's it going to be based on? And I wanted to show different stuff. So
I don't think I would mind seeing the occasional video if you got these runs. Just throw them out in single one-off videos. So
yeah.
feel free.
Well, I'm doing these rummage battles now, and I feel like that's a good way to incorporate some of these cards that I haven't shown.
Okay.
Yeah, because I showed on a rummage battle I did last week. I showed my 41 play ball Joe DiMaggio and my 41 play ball Ted Williams, and Dylan was like, "Man, when did you get those?" I was like, "I've had those. I just never shown them."
Well, that's just it, because you're more showing like almost eclectic collecting,
hmm
versus no one knows you have these monsters in the background. So
Yeah. Yeah, I still love those cards. I still love all the vintage, baseball in the 50s era cards. I love them. I'm not so much of a fan of 1960s or 70s, but I'll take some 50s cards all day long.
oh yeah, there's such a difference. I mean, almost every design in the 50s is blows things away from those next 2 decades. I mean,
Oh yeah.
it's
Oh yeah.
um, but yeah, so what you have kind of shown us is some pretty still impressive pre-war, a lot of pre-war stuff. Obviously your Diamond Stars series is you've got a whole string of those videos. Where are you at on the set for that? Let me zoom in
So,
on that.
so I am complete with the Diamond Star set. I consider the set complete at card number 96. And so, the rest of them, card 97 through 108, are all, duplicates. And so this is one of my favorite cards from the set, this Paul Wainer. But yeah, I'm done with the set. Right now, what I'm doing is I've got about 30 cards that were all in different holders. And I've sent them all to SGC because I'm kind of I like everything dress right dress. And so I want everything in an SGC holder. So I've got all the other ones sent off to SGC right now, and they'll be coming back soon. So
I
um,
don't understand that mindset at all myself, clearly, from my back wall. But
yeah, yeah.
but
No Beckett slabs back there, huh?
not that I've noticed. So, but another one that I was really loving was your 38 Heads Up, where you've collected, unlike kind of fighting against the current of the way most people seem to appreciate that set, where everybody's always loving the little comics on the borders, and you went another way. So you want to talk
Well,
about that a little?
well, I mean, to be honest with you, at first I was kind of off put by the comics. Here's an example. I can't get this camera to work right. Here's an example though of the heads up Bob Feller rookie card. So when I was collecting this set and putting it together, a completionist would have gone for the entire set, cartoons and no cartoons. I went the opposite way, but really the only reason why I went the opposite way was because it was a lesser expensive way to put the set together. The cards with the cartoons are like twice as much as these cards are. So
Oh yeah, I'm definitely feeling you on that. I am the bargain hunter myself since I didn't get into the vintage pre boom. So whereas you were able to scoop up some of these rookie cards at far more reasonable prices. That ship has sailed for me. So I am happy to go against the grain with how most people want to collect to save money. So,
yeah, actually, in fact, it was during the boom that I started selling off a lot of cards that I had already picked up, to do the down payment. So that
yeah.
the timing of that worked out perfect for me.
Oh, yeah. If you weren't selling them till 2020-ish or later, then yeah, that is perfect because
Mhm.
there was a huge price difference in 2018 to 2020, 2021. So,
Oh yeah,
quite the return on investment there.
oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Actually, so I had a YouTube channel from when was it? It was around 2020. I had a YouTube channel, and I was showing some of those player runs. But I stopped the YouTube channel. I wasn't getting a lot of subscribers, and really I should have stopped it for that. I should have just kept going, but I got disinterested in it, and I really just wanted to keep watching YouTube. And so I didn't pick back up until 10 months ago, like you said. But if I would have just kept at it, I would probably be a whole lot further along in my tenureship of a YouTuber.
Oh, yeah. If you would have stuck with it, you'd be one of these, well over 1,000 subscriber channels that would be getting Hall of Fame nominations right now, right?
I don't know. That's not, yeah, probably, but that's not, really why I'm on YouTube. So,
Exactly.
uh,
That's not why any of us are, especially, talking this channel here. It's all about collecting and friends. So,
yeah, and that is why I got onto YouTube. Before YouTube, it was really just me and in my room here, and going through cards on my own, and I was seeing VRs, and VRs always look really fun. Doug from Decons was doing a VR, and I was like, it's time I got back in the game. And I'm going to use his VR to come back in, and so I started coming up with a whole channel name and something that was like my brand, and so the rest is history.
well, we're glad to have you. And he's talking Doug Kahn, now known as DK Cardboard with the channel. And the VR was a show us your beautiful ones. So, of which you had quite a few. So,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't need high grade cards to enjoy the hobby. So
oh yeah, absolutely. I'm all about like, especially now that I'm doing pre-war, either ones that look good or authentics.
hmm
So,
yeah. Here's one of those cards that I showed on that VR. If I can get this right, I can't figure this out. But anyway, this Kenny Tobacco George Washington card. These things are in really high demand. These Kenny Tobacco George Washington cards, and I got this one. I picked it up raw and sent it in for grading myself, and it's got some stains and some paper loss on the back, and I don't really care what the back looks like. The front of it looks really really nice.
oh
So
yeah, the front's great.
yeah, another one that I have in the tobacco field is this one right here. This Allen and Ginter USA card. Love this card, and the front of this So I had another one, and I got this one, and this one has a better front. And so I didn't, like I said, I don't care what the back looks like. It's got complete paper loss on it. So
Oh, they ripped that thing out of there.
yeah, yeah, they did. So yeah, um,
Yeah. I mean, honestly, those are great because one of the things I've personally gotten into now is the history cards, and
hmm
uh, what you're collecting. That's kind of right up my interest area. So
yeah. And that's the thing for me is so baseball is at the core of my hobby. It is my first love, but all these tobacco cards, the non-sport cards, these military cards that I have, all of them I collect because I relate to them. And that's really why I collect is I want to be able to relate to what I'm collecting in some form or fashion, aside from just the baseball. I love the history of baseball, which is why I collect some 1800s baseball cards because I love that. But I'll give you an example.
yeah,
So being in the army and I drive a Jeep, okay, and because I'm in the army and or was in the army, I retired, but and I drive a Jeep, I picked this card up, and this is a 1953 tops. I forget what this is called. What is it? Tops World on Wheels, but it's a Willys Jeep, and it even talks about being the Army's wonder car. And so I picked this up because I just relate to it on two different levels.
nice.
Yeah.
I mean that's what all the collecting should be about is suiting your collection for the things you like, and that's one of the things I am enjoying with you is I have a lot of shared interests of the things you're doing, but uh, the you know military sets I really struck me that one you had of the soldiers that was pre World War II from different countries. Did you
Yeah,
pull any of those?
I do. I pulled two of them. So I
Okay,
pulled the first one I pulled. These are from 1934. They're Gaudi cards. And this one is the U.S. Marine. And so this is, like I said, a Gaudi card. I love, you've got a tank back here. You've got the Marine in his dress uniform with the flag, the U.S. flag behind it. So this set is a 34 card set, and it has cards from different nations. Here's another example of this. So this is a German, Nazi era,
oh
um,
yeah,
soldier.
because Hitler took over in 33, so 34.
Yeah, yeah. So it's got the flag of the time right there, and just an interesting image. So yeah, I was stationed in Germany for 6 years. So
Yeah, that one just struck me personally after I did my own little World War II project. So, of like, wow, that's just like a snapshot of the precursor to all these countries clashing.
yeah, so that's something that really fascinates me. Not I have a lot of cards that are from Germany from that time frame, only because it's like I can relate to you when you see that one card that you show of Hitler, and you're like, this thing disgusts me. Well, yeah, I understand, but it's also a part of history that even when I was in Germany, they're trying to erase from their country, from their history, and um, part of me is surprised that they even have this stuff in existence anymore, that it wasn't
Yeah,
all burned or something like that. And then the other part is, that SGC really doesn't grade that stuff. If they see that symbol, they really don't want to grade it. I have a
yeah,
flag. I have a tobacco flag card from 1936, and I think it's Player and Sons flag card, and it's got the German flag on there from 1936. SGC would not grade it. And they were like, nope, the grader was offended by this card, and they sent it back. So, okay, cool. But for me,
Yeah.
it's a part of the history. It's not a good part of the history, but it's a part of history.
Oh
And
yeah.
so
History should be used as a lesson.
yeah,
So
yeah,
if you erase all signs of the negative things, then how do people recognize when it's happening again?
yeah,
So
exactly, exactly. I'll show you a couple of other Gaudi military cards, or a couple of military cards. So this is another Gaudi card from 1938, and this is a soldier on a motorcycle, which I thought was really cool. And I love the
yeah.
detail of the skyline in the background. Even though the forefront, you've got this soldier that's shooting a Tommy gun, and you can even see the rounds coming out of the Tommy gun. But just the background strike is striking as well. So
Oh yeah, it's gorgeous background there. Similar, it makes feels similar to my Hubble that's got that bright orange.
yeah.
My 33 Gaudi.
And then another one that I can relate to is this one. This one's from 1941 Gum, and this is soldiers practicing gas warfare. And I've actually had to do this a number of times: wear a gas mask and try to hit targets at a range or something like that, and practicing gas warfare. So I can relate directly to this card, but also my grandfather served in World War II, and so I also can try to put myself in his shoes when he was training during this time frame.
Yeah. What year was that one?
That one's 1941.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that's something else I collect, is military cards.
Yeah, those are nice. But so any other cards you brought out to show here, or before we just move on a little bit,
As far as military cards, I mean, yeah, military
or
cards.
any cards that
Oh
you
yeah,
wanted to show, that represent your collection?
oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I love oddball baseball cards, foreign baseball cards,
Oh
and
yeah.
so um, one that I love is this 1940s Cracker Jack Sport, and love this card. This is from Canada. And so love that the image on that card.
Yeah.
It's one that you don't see all the time, and so this is what the back looks like on that.
Oh,
And then another one, while you got me here, is I love these just oddball baseball tobacco cards, that aren't U.S. This one is a British, so it's a British tobacco. It's Wills 1901 Wills tobacco, and love the entire set, which is a multi-sport set. It's got beautiful artistry on it, but my favorite card is this baseball card. So
just
that's
curious on that one. Is that player identifiable or?
no,
Okay.
unfortunately not. No.
Yeah.
So my big thing is what I love is artistry on a card. I mean, I'm really drawn to artistry. If I have a black and white photo, I'm not overly interested in it. I had the 48. What was it? The 48 Bowman. Stan Musial that's in black and white, and I
Yeah.
actually prefer the leaf to the Bowman. So I sold off my Bowman and I kept the leaf. I prefer the art card over a picture card. So that's just what I'm drawn to.
Is the drawn there a pun? But no.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so for example, if you were to ask me which Stan Musial card do I like better? Do I like his 52 Bowman or his 53 Bowman? I have both, but I prefer this one because it's a drawing over a picture.
That is a nice looking card. There's a
Yeah.
lot of fans of the 53 Bowman too, but
Oh,
uh, as far as the rookies go, it does seem like the Leaf is more popular.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I myself I do love kind of love the black and white photos on cards, so I'm actually favoring the 48 Bowman to like 49 or I also think my favorite play ball set is 39. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
39's a nice set too. I really want to get the Mel Ott from that set. So, oh, you know what I really want to
yeah.
get is the Ted Williams from that set. Got to get that.
Oh yeah, wasn't that considered the rookie for him?
Yeah, it
So
is.
it's a bit costly.
Yeah. Actually, the one card of his that I it's like my Grail card is the 1954 Wilson Franks. So if I could just get my hands on that card, I would feel like my Ted Williams, run is complete. So
Oh, those are not cheap oddballs because
no, no, they're not.
uh, I've never looked up the Williams, but I know the Mays goes for quite a bit of money.
Yeah. So that's one thing I really love about the 50s is all the oddball stuff. So I have like I have the Red Heart Stan Musial, and I have the Red Heart Mickey Mantle. I have the Dan D Mickey Mantle. And I have a Dan D Bob Feller, and so on and so forth. But I also have the Wilson Franks Bob Feller and Roy Campanella, but I really want that Ted Williams, like really bad. So,
All right. After naming all these cards you have,
uh-huh.
people fill up in the comments down below all these cards you want Dan to show on videos because he's just hiding everything. So,
Yeah, sorry about that.
all right.
Well, here
But yeah, thanks for sharing all that.
you want to see a card I've never shown on YouTube before?
Oh yeah, of course I do.
Okay, all right. I've never shown this card on YouTube before.
All right, yeah, because I thought you showed what the Walter Johnson in your beautiful ones, but yeah, not that one, because
Yeah,
that one was what graded higher. It's a glare right on the grade.
yeah. Sorry, that's a two.
Oh, two.
Well,
Okay,
it's got the MC, but yeah, I've never shown that card before.
yeah, that's awesome.
So
I love the T205s.
yeah, yeah. I'm back and forth on which one I really want to collect more cards from. Do I want more T206 or do I want more T205s? I have more T205s. Like I have the big ones, but I don't have any T206s. I used to. I sold them, so I'm just trying to figure out what do I want to do. Do I want to get back into T206 or do I want to just keep going with T205s? So.
And that's the crazy thing to me is it seems like the pop count on the T206s is way higher, but they still go for more money than the T205s go.
Yeah, and the pictures on the T205s are just amazing. I mean, the portrait
Yeah.
picture, you can tie those directly back to an actual photo. So like the picture of the Ty Cobb, or even the Walter Johnson an actual photo, that they used for this card. So
Yeah. Oh, those are gorgeous. Unfortunately at this point I still only have one, and it's the National League version, so it doesn't have the fancy adornments.
well, but I still love the simplicity of those. I love the Christy Mathewson. And I love the if you get the Tinker, Evers, and Chance, and put them all together because they all have that green background.
Oh yeah.
I love seeing all those together.
Oh yeah. It's slipping my mind because I watched too many channels of who it was. But my first monthly recap video, someone had put together a special display where they had all three of those cards put together for like a wall holder
Hmm.
that was really cool, and they were in my monthly recap. So, um, so whoever you are, good job. But
Yeah, really.
but yeah, that's good stuff. Anything else?
I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you one more card.
All right,
So, I mean, I have
we
other
love
cards
cards
pulled.
on this channel.
Well, I have more cards pulled, but so this is an 1800s tobacco trade card,
That is
and
cool.
yeah, and it's one of the oldest trade cards that I have in my collection. But I just love these, 1800s baseball cards, and really the trade cards is what I like more than the standard tobacco cards. So I just love that the imagery on these things is awesome.
So what are they dating that one at? I couldn't read it.
It says 1880s. No, yeah,
Okay.
1880s. So they don't have an actual date. Whereas on this one, this Huntley and Palmer's, they have an actual date of 1878.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So really love the images. Just that historic image. It's just dating back to the early times of the sport. It's still in its infancy, and I just love that stuff.
Oh
Can't
yeah.
get can't get enough of it.
And at that point, the artist didn't necessarily understand the game, considering how they drew the position of the players, and
Yeah.
it looks a little silly, but
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but
Really.
it definitely puts it in its time period, seeing it look like that. So it's
Well,
awesome.
and to think about it, like the sport of baseball was still growing at the time, so
Oh
there
yeah.
were still areas of the United States that didn't even know about the sport yet, and then you would have these trade cards that were going out, basically teaching people or introducing them to the sport. So it was really cool, to think about that history.
Oh yeah. Well, I did see your one video also where you talked about it being written in something from the 1790s that
Hmm.
that actually mentioned baseball by name. What was that?
Yeah, so I did a video on a card that I have from Pittsfield, Massachusetts, and it's a trade card. And so I started looking up Pittsfield, Massachusetts to try to find out, well, what is the history behind this? And I learned that Pittsfield, Massachusetts has a long, long history of baseball. And in their bylaws from the late 1700s, they talk about where you can and cannot play baseball because they had just built a schoolhouse or a church or something, and they were saying in the bylaws you cannot play baseball around the church or the school building so that they don't break any windows. So so if it's been going on for that long, then that that's way longer than what is it, the Abner Doubleday or
Oh yeah,
double.
that myth that
Yeah,
was put out there. I mean, that's about as real as the whole cherry tree in George Washington.
yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
but yeah, the what was it? The baseball documentary kind of alludes that it was kind of played all over the place with no real rules for
Hmm.
quite a while, and it was more like the Elysian Fields where they started to actually document some rules and kind of try to make it uniform. So,
Yeah. So going back to, let's see, where's that one card I showed you? Here it is. So going back to this card right here.
yeah,
So this set right here shows the sports of today, which would have been 1940s, and yesterday. And I used to have both cards. I actually sent a duplicate of this and the yesterday card to Peter B as a care package. But on that card, it shows what a baseball diamond would have looked like, and it was more of like a square, or like a oddly shaped rectangle than the diamond looks like today. And
uh huh,
it was talking about what the baseball diamond looked like in the early days of the sport, which was, not really the same at all as what it looks like today. So,
Sure. I mean, well, I'm sure it also varied from place to place for a long time, and
yeah.
until somebody wrote down it's supposed to be these exact measurements, and then everybody started, complying with that. So,
Yep. Yep.
all right, cool stuff. Cool walking through history with you. So, you came back to YouTube, and how's it been these 10 months? How you liking the experience?
Actually, yeah, I'm loving the experience. I try to keep myself on a schedule. I want to do at least one video, maybe two videos a week. Sometimes that can be a challenge, but what I'm really enjoying is trying to find new ways of sharing cards. And I want it to be based around a theme. So, for example, I was showing my Diamond Star set, and now that that's done, at the same time, I was doing this series called Lanyap, and lagniappe is a French word that we use down here in Louisiana, which means something extra. So what I was doing is I was showing my diamond stars in the beginning of the week, and then at the end of the week I would do a lagniappe cards episode where I was just random cards, kind of a rummage, random cards through the at the end of the week, just to tide you over until the next week is my thought process. Well, that evolved into the battle rummage because I feel like the battle rummage, I can pair two cards against each other, and then I want to see what your thoughts are on it. And, so basically I could show like two cards and say, okay, which two cards are you going to pick? Are you going to pick this, this OBAC card from the Pacific Coast League of Benjamin Hunt, or are you going to pick this? This card, this Z-Nut card of Brooks, which one are you going to pick as your favorite of the two? And so then I feel like that gets the viewers more involved if they can go on there and make a comment and say, oh, I want, Bravo team or I want Alpha team to be the winner of this battle. So I feel like it's
Cool.
more engaging.
Yeah. I mean, because that's the biggest thing to me is it's really enjoyable to me every time I make a video, and then a core group of people are always interacting with me afterwards. So,
Yeah.
that's what makes it, a big part of the enjoyment. So,
Yeah, I love the interaction. Again, that's why I got onto YouTube to begin with, was to build friendships and relationships and to interact with other collectors and other people who are interested in the same stuff I am. So I mean, that's really big to me. And there's a Dr. Pepper collectors group out there that I'm a part of because, as you can see, I collect Dr. Pepper stuff.
okay.
But I had started a Dr. Pepper YouTube channel also around the same time I started this one. But all of the Dr. Pepper collectors out there are all much older than I am, and none of them are even on YouTube. So I was like, well, what am I even doing this for? There's no audience for it. So, so I kept going with the baseball and I stopped doing the Dr. Pepper stuff. So
So you did almost an impossible thing, is find a niche even smaller than vintage sports cards,
yeah, really. Yeah. Yeah.
considering how huge of a community we are. So,
Big enough. I mean, there's over
yeah.
150 channels on YouTube just devoted to baseball cards. So that says something.
Oh yeah, because while I've been trying to do these monthly recaps. I've got my subscription count around 450 now.
Oh
So,
my gosh. Yeah.
but yeah, so there's quite a few out there. But you know, compared to the Pokemon cards, we are microscopic. So,
Yeah, I'm not even interested in those. It's one of those things I just could care less about. I've never had an interest in them. So
yeah, well, exactly. I mean, we're too old for those, anyway. So,
yeah.
but all right. So, last thing I like to do for these interviews is just a few random questions to see where your mind's at on some
Uh-oh.
things. So
Okay. All right.
start out. Do you have a favorite movie?
A favorite movie. Well, I like a series. My favorite series is Band of Brothers.
That was a great miniseries.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I think it made me think that what's his face, Ross from Friends, is a better actor than I thought, because you really hated his character on there.
Yeah. Yeah. Captain Sobel. Yeah. You just wanted to hate that
Yeah.
guy.
So, um, did you have a favorite subject in school?
History. Well,
I was 99% sure you were going to say that one.
yeah. So history and photography. So I actually was a sports photographer before I joined the Army. I was a sports photographer, which is why I'm very critical of 1960s and 70s cards, is because the photography is terrible. And
They were lazy.
yeah, yeah, very lazy. And so, yeah, for about a 5 year span, I was a sports photographer. I worked for a newspaper and used to go to football games, basketball, and baseball games, and went to one hockey game, the Dallas Stars, right after they opened up in Dallas. My newspaper sent me up to Dallas to capture that. But other than that, I'm very critical on those decades, the 60s and 70s. Just I can't stand the photography of them.
Yeah. It always seems like a joke to me, especially like the 72 inaction cards. They don't. Uh, they're more like inaction cards.
Yeah.
As in, it's not really an action shot.
So, and then, I don't know if you saw the video where I talked about night games, but, I mean, there's the capabilities of taking pictures at night, well into the 60s and 70s, but you never see any night games represented on baseball cards. So, so why is that? Again, it's the photographers were lazy. They wanted to go out there and get a posed picture and, and go about their day. And then why do they keep repeating the same pictures over and over again? You want me to fall asleep and drool on these cards is what you want. So
Oh yeah, like why? Like you said, you had a Willie Mays run. I have a Willie Mays run. Why are there two different ones that are duplicated twice?
yeah, yeah,
So
exactly.
just a different zoom level.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, I really love photography of cards today. I think that they actually push the limits on their capabilities. And then that's why I prefer the artistry cards of, the 1950s and before, is just because it's not boring. It's, something that somebody took some time to actually do.
Yep. All right. Do you have a favorite food?
Um, You know, let's see here. What would be my favorite food? Barbecue.
All
Love,
right, that makes
love,
sense down there.
yeah, love. Well, not so much here in Louisiana. So here in Louisiana, it would probably be like etouffee. But I'm, originally from Texas. It's
Yeah,
it's barbecue. Got,
absolutely.
gotta love.
Uh, when you were a kid, what was it? What was your dream of what you wanted to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be a baseball player.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I wanted to be a baseball player. My favorite team at the time was the Houston Astros. I mean, it still is, but my uncle played for the Dodgers, the Cubs. I mean, he played for many, many teams. He actually had the nickname the Nomad, and because he got traded to so many different teams. But I wanted to be like him, but I wasn't a pitcher like he was. So he was a pitcher, and here's his 93 Topps Finest Refractor. So he was a pitcher,
Yeah.
and I was not. I was a shortstop. So I was a shortstop, or I was an outfielder.
Which tells me you were quick when you were young.
So I loved stealing bases. Was my favorite thing to do. I emulated Ricky Henderson, and I wanted to steal bases.
Awesome. All right. So you had the advantage over most people on this show having the in with Mike Morgan. So who do you feel like is the most famous person you actually got to interact with directly?
The most famous person I had to interact with, I would have to say, was Tommy Lasorda.
Oh,
I mean, it's debatable. Some people prefer Ryan Sandberg over Tommy Lasorda, or some people might prefer Billy Williams, or but I got to interact with them.
I would say Lasorda is more famous than those guys, but he was on the baseball bunch, so
Yeah, yeah, so and he was
well,
with
I guess that show predates you a little bit, doesn't it?
what's that?
Baseball bunch was on in the early '80s, so you probably were a little too young for that one.
Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
would have been the start of my baseball years. Was when that show was on with Johnny Bench and Tommy Lasorda was on there as a guest.
Oh
So
god, no, never saw that. Never saw that. But yeah, I mean, I would say him. Eddie Murray, was another one. So there's a number of them. I can't really put my finger on just one. So
yeah, so by all accounts, everybody says he's a super nice guy, but he's one of those guys where if you're not a Dodger fan, you kind of hate him. So
I'll tell you this though, he didn't even have to ask for it. He just got the respect when we were all sitting at that table, and the Dodgers had beat the Astros. Okay, so when and Uncle Mike was pitching that night. So when we went out to dinner that night, and he was sitting at the head of the table, I mean, he just when he got up to speak, nobody interrupted him. It was just everybody just sat there and listened. They were quiet and they just listened to what he had to say. And he was basically congratulating everybody, saying, great job on the game tonight, and Uncle Mike got the win, and but he was just he it was inspiring to see somebody that influential.
that's cool.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Do you have a favorite song?
I love Frank Sinatra, so any Frank Sinatra song.
He is a classic. I definitely.
Yeah, I would say
I,
"Fly Me to the Moon" would be my favorite Frank Sinatra song.
hmm. I think mine is "Makes Me Feel So Young." That one.
Yep, that's a good
Yeah.
one. That's a good one.
Uh, Excluding the easy answer of dogs and cats that people have in their homes, what would be your favorite animal?
So we don't have any pets.
Okay.
But when I was a kid, I had some guinea pigs, and I would have to say the guinea pig, going back to my childhood.
All right. Uh, if you had the ability to switch lives and experience a day of anyone else's life, and let's just assume you have their abilities. So, like if you want to be Jordan, you can suddenly play like Jordan and, see what that feels like. What would you choose? Any time in history, any person.
Oh gosh, man, I don't even know. Maybe Walt Disney. And
Okay.
and I
Next
would.
card there. We got to solo that one. Another one
Yep.
you have never shown. Is it?
I've showed it one time.
Oh, I missed that one then.
Yeah. So maybe Walt Disney, and I would draw something. I don't. I would make a new character, a new Disney character.
And for folks who don't know, that is considered the Walt Disney rookie that is most desirable. I've was it George? Why am his channel name slipping my mind right now? Has that one too? A Concrete Buddy has that
Oh yeah,
card also. Yeah.
yeah. He and I have very similar collections. Not so much like the cards, but the style of cards that we enjoy collecting. So
Oh yeah, I see you. Doug and George being very similar guys who I like to see your stuff.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Doug's got a great collection as well. So yeah.
all right. Next question. And I guess this would be my final pick. You've been a collector of the Diamond Stars, you talked about the T205s, the T206s. If money wasn't an object and you could acquire then any set, what would be the thing you would target?
Like the whole set.
Yeah.
I'd probably go for the T206 set. So actually, that was something I was going to start on this year, and since then, I've been doing a lot of soul searching since the beginning of the year this month, and I've decided there are still some '50s cards that I want to chase. I don't have a Roberto Clemente rookie. I don't have a Sandy Koufax rookie, and so why am I not still chasing these cards? Why do I keep deviating, and why am I keep going towards all these tobacco cards and stuff like that? I mean, I clearly love them, but I also feel like something's missing when I don't have some of these other 1950s cards that I want. So I think I may switch things up a little bit and start going back after some more 50s cards. So we'll see.
All right. That's quite the pick. That is a large set. Some very expensive ones there. Obviously, you're not getting a Honus Wagner or the Eddie Plank or the
Yeah.
maybe a couple others. So
Yeah, there's and I can't even remember how many cards. There's like 500 cards in the set, and in order to complete it, I mean, it's minus the big cards. They consider the set complete even without those big cards. And I know I would never complete it unless I had those big ones. But I love the history behind them, and I love the imagery on them. So
well, good choice. So that wraps up my questions and the interview here. Any last words for the folks at home?
not really. Keep hunting the good stuff. That's my outro on all my videos. Basically means whatever you find to be the good stuff, keep hunting it. So it's your collection. It is what you make it. So.
Absolutely. Good words to live by there. Because, all of us here at For Collectors, it's all about the love, the enjoyment, and, making friends along the way. So thank you very much, Dan. It's been great to talk to you. The rest of you, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. So thanks, everybody.